In the next 30 days, it's really about identifying, where you want to affect change in the business. Again, growth, churn reduction, whatever it is. Who's the best partner that's most likely to go help me win in that business, whether they've got a large customer base in that business or they just have unique expertise. How can we create a simple co-sell door opener that's an experience? Hone in on one little thing, create an experience, start sending out communications. It's as simple as that.
Welcome to the Business Builder's Playbook, the show that breaks down the systems and strategies behind predictable revenue growth to win in business. In each episode, we're diving into the proven strategies that separate the winners who scale from the losers who fail. This show is sponsored by BDR.ai, the AI-powered business development platform that automates your outbound prospecting so you can focus in on closing deals instead of chasing leads. Let's get started. Welcome, everybody. My name is David, and I get a chance to be your host and moderator for this amazing conversation on building a better playbook around the concept of partnerships. And I got a chance to have my friend Alex Buckles, CEO of Forecastable.com, absolute expert. I think you're going to be blown away in this interview. You're going to get a chance to hear so many great ideas on how to expand opportunities through strategic partnerships. And Alex has got a tremendous experience. He's got 20 years in enterprise sales. He's had 2 successful exits. He's got former military experience, Marines. Is it Hoorah? I can't remember. Hoorah. Yeah, nice. Sigma. Is it Sigma Phi? Is that
Semper Fi?
Semper Fi. Sorry, I'm getting better at it. But
Okay.
man, I'm so excited to jump into this. I know we've had a friendship and we've had a chance to work together on some projects. And I'm so excited to be able to share your education, experience, expertise on strategic partnerships and really understanding how to blow up opportunities when you bring in this concept of partnership. So thanks for joining me today.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having me.
Well, let's jump in and just talk a little bit about your story. And I know that there's obviously a lot to it, but if you could give everybody kind of a couple minute summary as to what brought Alex to where he is today, what would be the things that you think that they would benefit from hearing?
Sure. That can be a long story, so I'll try to keep it short. But how I got here today, like you mentioned, I've been in enterprise sales for 20 years. Started out after getting out of the Marine Corps. I got into retail sales and was selling cell phones for a little bit there. I learned some really great objection handling. I didn't know it at the time. And then I got my first, enterprise. My first professional role was as an enterprise AE, and so I've always kind of been on that enterprise side of the house. I worked for small companies and large, some startups along the way, lifestyle businesses. And then when I got into as I started getting into the real, true enterprise world, that was in the SAP ecosystem. And there I was, with a professional services organization, co-selling with SAP reps. And I found out really quickly that not a single one of those reps would care about my existence unless I was helping them, win deals or giving them some type of unique edge that could help them break into accounts. And then subsequently I ended up in the Adobe ecosystem. I was a top enterprise rep at Marketo just after Vista had acquired them. And so I rode that all the way through to Adobe acquiring Marketo. And then I went on to run the revenue function at a professional services organization that specialized in marketing automation implementations, large enterprise type stuff. And my charter was to double revenue and flip the company in 2 years. That was the founder's objectives. And within a single quarter of us beginning to deploy tightly aligned co-sell motions, we had over 40 enterprise AEs from Adobe that were feeding us business. And even through COVID, when most of our forecasts came to a screeching halt, the fact that we had all of those Adobe reps, submitting us business, it recovered our losses dollar for dollar. We ended up hitting our number in 2 years, double revenue and flipped. And that's when I realized that all of this stuff is very, very repeatable. And so when I started Forecastable, we actually started out life as a SaaS company. I thought, I thought I was building or solving all the world's co-sell problems through technology. We built all this stuff, and I'm like, this is exactly what I would want if I were, running co-sell on my own as an enterprise rep. And ultimately, come to find out, nobody really knew what to do with the technology. the market challenge wasn't something that could be solved with tech. They really needed the guidance and the ongoing support, around execution and strategy. And so that's what eventually morphed us into a tech-enabled managed service. And now we don't sell the tech; we just use our tech internally that we built to go run all the motions that we run with our customers, and that's where we're at today.
Wow, so cool. And there are so many opportunities inside of the world of co-selling and strategic partnerships. And when people hear the term co-selling, can you just define it for those people that might be new to the concept and maybe some of the misconceptions around it?
Sure. Co-selling is really where, and it doesn't necessarily have to be just sales. I think some of the misconceptions that you're talking about is maybe them thinking that it's just a sales activity. Where reps are getting together and working deals. And yes, that is the largest part of co-sell. I would love reps to kind of work deals together. But at the end of the day, it's really any time that a partner can come in and help, increase upsell, cross sell, reduce churn, drive net new logos, all of those activities, even though you may be working or, co-selling with different stakeholder groups at your partner, like usually co-selling happens either in the pre-sales org, in the sales org, or in the customer success and account management org. But again, anytime that a partner can come in and run a motion that drives value on both sides, and we're super aligned on it together, that's co-selling for me.
Hmm. And I know that partnerships have existed forever. So why do you think that co-selling is becoming a top priority for revenue leaders right now?
So it's because the world has shifted. I partnerships is you're right. It's been around forever. There's nothing new or anything like that. But I feel like, as I think back 10 years ago, like, or even maybe a little less than that, when VC money was readily available and everybody had money, it felt like, because everybody was buying everything. And I feel like partnerships were present, and yes, they were producing, in terms of referrals and resellers and things like that, um but they weren't produced. There was never really, in my opinion, there's never really any true accountability that was assigned to the partnerships orgs back then, that was like saying, okay, well, you need to produce this, we need to attribute revenue to these activities. It was a lot of just, how do I describe it? There was a lot of partnering and press releases, and like it was a lot of show and a lot of theater and not really a lot of actual production. And nobody could really pinpoint and say, yeah, if I invest in my partner work, here's the exact pipeline I'm going to get out of that. And nobody really cared, because back then they didn't care about customer acquisition costs as much. It was growth at all costs. We have lots of money, let's go spend. And then that came to a screeching halt. And now, like, cold outbound isn't as effective as it used to be. And that CAC, that customer acquisition cost, now is like really attractive to today's companies. And I would say in the lion's share of our deals, they're CFO involved. And in many of our deals, they're CFO led, where like the CFO is the one that came inbound and said, we know that we can do partnerships. We know we have the potential to do it, but we've never been able to do it consistently or forecast it accurately. And that's kind of the market opportunity right now. Everybody, not everybody, but most organizations want to go nail this now because of the CAC benefits.
Yeah, well, I'm sure that there's probably lots of different reasons of why partnerships succeed or fail. But if you could go back to like the years of experience and, all of the expertise that you have, what is the biggest reason or reasons, if there's like two that just consistently show up, of why partner programs fail to generate consistent and predictable pipeline?
It's because of lack of execution ability. That's really what it comes down to. Is that a lot of times, a lot of times, like partnership, a lot of partnerships orgs will say that the sales team's not paying attention, and I can't get my sales reps, to do what I need them to do, and that's why it's not working. And that may be true, but they've also never given those sales reps a reason to care. Like, those sales reps have to wake up when a partnership, a partner professional in your company walks up to you and says, "I've got something." It's like, well, if that rep doesn't smell immediate quota retirement, say, "Yeah, I want to run that in my accounts." Like, that's that visceral reaction that you look for, and it doesn't happen on its own. You can't just go in and train or enable on these things. For us, that's why when we created the service, we started doing this for customers. And the most critical piece of it is developing co-sell playbooks. And what's a co-sell playbook? Well, a co-sell playbook is when we sit down with a customer or any company, and we start. It's all about executive priorities. where do we want to grow in FY26? What are the pains we're trying to overcome? Do we have churn issues? Do we want to go upsell, cross sell? Are we acquiring companies and maybe we want to go, cross sell or co sell together internally with our new acquisition? Um, and as they're um and they it starts out with those strategic priorities, and then what I do in my mind, I'm just a sales guy. I've never actually held a partnerships role in my entire career. So I'm like, okay, you need upsell, cross sell over here. Who's it? Let's say it's in financial services. I'll then ask them, who in your partner ecosystem is like the very best, the most unique subject matter expert you could find that is good at that thing. And they always have an answer, and 9 times out of 10, they have an answer. And there's someone that's in mind. And I say, let's get that company and that CEO or head of delivery into the room. Typically, usually it's a systems integrator, or professional services company, and I do an interview. And the interview process is the most critical piece of the whole thing, because you can't just merge one pagers and think that you've got a value story that you can bring to market. And when I get in there and I start interviewing, I start asking that SI or that professional services company, tell me what you think. Why do you think they're unable to upsell, cross sell here? What personas are we dealing with? What pain are they feeling right now? And we try to hone in a very, very tight ICP. The more focused, the better. And then we come up with what's called a co-sell door opener, and it's like, okay, what's the hook or the thing that the platform company, it could be Salesforce, it could be Adobe, SAP, doesn't matter. Like, what's the hook that sales rep is going to be excited to go email to their target account or their existing customer, and that'll help us achieve this thing. And we come up with some exciting offer that allows them, the customer to have an experience. And that could be pulling data and giving them an output of some sort, but that co-sell door opener should give the customer something of value that they want to go and experience. And when that happens, reps start sending out emails, people get excited, they want a part of the experience. And then now you've got a really engaging, wonderful conversation to have. And that's the beginning of your cycle.
Yeah. So it's just simple. I mean, this is pretty much duplicatable from a lot of different aspects. It's list, message, offer, follow up, right? I mean, it's once you've got those 4 things nailed, you have an opportunity to start building out that partnership model. So if this show is resonating with you and you're ready to take action because you want to scale your business faster, smarter, with more AI and technology and less labor, check out BDR.ai. We help entrepreneurs and executive sales leaders to automate the grind of prospecting so you can focus your time on closing deals and growing revenue where you should be spending your time. With AI-powered data, digital outreach automation, and done-for-you prospecting systems, you'll connect with more qualified leads, book more appointments, and build predictable revenue without adding more hours to your week or the week of your staff. Visit BDR today and discover how our AI Prospect Finder and digital BDR agents can help you to build your pipeline and your profits. Visit BDR.ai, where business builders learn how to automate and scale their playbook. If a company wants to go out there and just build partner-sourced revenue that's repeatable, not random, but they're just looking for the first few foundational pieces that they need to put into place, what would you say that those things are?
The first thing they need to put in place, if they want partnerships revenue, let's talk about, one segment is like the folks that don't even have a partnerships professional. Don't, like, if you're just thinking about partnerships, or maybe you've got a couple partnerships and now you want to like create more repeatability, there's like this natural instinct to try to just hire a partnerships person. And most of a lot of the partnerships professionals that are out there today, great human beings, and I'm sure they're very capable, but this is a different environment. And like I said, 10 years ago, like, you could sign partnerships and have great fluffy meetings and still, get your bonus every single year. But now it is all about execution. And so, my advice there is to, one, focus on the play. Again, just like you said, it's, you got to figure out the offer, the messaging, you got to get it out, you got to reply, and it's got to be exciting and of value, of high value to that customer or prospect. And when you figure that offer, it's just a sales play. You can grab a junior AE or even an SDR that has 1 year of experience and say, go run this play. Here's what you need to do. Here's the process. Work with these reps at this company, and we're going to run this motion together. And that activity is the very first activity I recommend. And you throw mud at that wall, on a few different plays. And when you find repeatability, then you hire potentially a partnerships professional to come in and help manage all of those activities and build structure around the plays.
Yeah. So, I mean, Simple, not easy, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's definitely pretty simple when we're talking about it. It's not always easy and doable because you have to go out there and you have to refine and you have to test and you have to see, what actually pulls, what actually gets a response, what doesn't. And, they say that 50% of your time and money in marketing is wasted, and you could just go over there and put it in the garbage can. The skill is learning which half,
Yep.
because you just
Absolutely.
don't know. You just got to go through the process. So if you were to go out there and you were to create a co-sell playbook, what does that look like at a practical level? And where do companies overcomplicate it and make it to be not usable, or just it doesn't get the results that they desire because it's just too many steps, too complicated, too overwhelming?
Yeah, so the ones, one, I think there are very few companies that are actually developing coastal playbooks. It's very rare that I see that. I see a lot of battle cards. I see a lot of random info sheets of some sort they hand to reps and like expect them to be able to go run co-sell motions. For me, a co-sell playbook, like we said, like earlier, like it's an interview-based process for us, and the output of that is we typically have a play name of some sort. We have really tight ICP. Don't boil the ocean. I challenge people all the time. It's like,
That's classic. That's a classic line. I have to. Hey, you guys, that's a jotter downer. Don't boil the ocean. I love that.
yeah, don't boil the ocean. Like recently, we're chatting with somebody that they had a really cool coastal play, high value, like great brand, and they're selling with a large CRM company. And as I was building the playbook, and it's like, well, what's the ideal customer? Well, it's 50 to 150 sales reps, in that size org. But but it's really like 10. And I was like, no, 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 stop yourself right there. Like a 10-person sales organization is very different than a 50-person sales organization. Let's keep the play focused. And if you keep it focused and you don't have success or you've exhausted all the people on that list of some sort, you can probably go down, and get to that. But for the initial play, it's about the focus. The second piece, is instead of just ICP, is account identification criteria. So I ask a lot of questions in the interviews around like, what technologies are they running? What are the pain points that they're having? Are they showing intent somewhere? Because sometimes partners are even sharing intent data and their own stuff like that. And so we have the account identification criteria. We've got ICP. We have trigger events. Like, what are the activities that they're doing? It could be a change in leadership. It could be a new initiative that we've now uncovered. So we identify any corresponding trigger events. We log all of that data, and then we write down like what's in it for both parties, and we try to align. Doesn't mean the coastal motion doesn't mean both parties win every single time. In terms of like, not everybody has two open deals at the same time that are closing at the same time, but maybe party one or partner A has them as an existing customer, and they know that they're going to reduce likelihood of churn by running this play and getting partner B, who's an integration partner, into the mix and hooked in, and they're less likely to churn at that point. And so when I'm figuring out, we always write down in the playbook, what's in it for partner A? Okay, churn reduction, great. That's good enough value. What's in it for partner B? Net new business, all that great stuff. And that's kind of the basics of the playbook. And then on the execution side, that's all about the co-sell door opener, which we chatted about earlier, creating that high value experience that a buyer would be willing to pay for. It's got to feel like it's worth like real money. It's got to be high value. And then that co-sell door opener is just the messaging that we're using to go share how they can gain access to that experience. When those two things come together and they're tight and they're great, it's a thing of beauty. It works every time.
That's awesome. Well, I know that there's a lot of sales teams out there that resist one more initiative, one more tactic. So, how do you get reps that actually adopt and use co-sell motion consistently?
It's about them experiencing it in their real accounts. It's like, and what we do, the last thing a rep wants to do, like you said, is have a new initiative. They don't want to sit through another training session. They just want to go, they want to open deals and close them at the highest possible win rate. And we need to focus on that. Like I've been a 20-year enterprise rep, and I was one of the very worst at like anything administrative. I didn't fill in things in CRM. I didn't like the trainings. I would procrastinate on stuff. So I fit that profile and I understand it really, really well. And so the biggest thing for me is don't waste their time. And so like you get in front of something, you got to give them something they can do today and accounts that they own today so they can get progress in something this week. And so when we talk about that playbook and that door opener, that is exactly what it is. So when we develop these, the first thing is we want to get in front of the sales team. We pull all the account lists that are, that sales team owns, that matches the ICP and the account identification criteria and the trigger events, all that stuff. And we say, hey, you've got Mr. and Mrs. Rep, you've got 11 accounts that are highly qualified for this motion. And here's the door opener. Which one are you excited to send this to, or a few? And you get them to just start sending. These are light send. This is not some big sequence or cadence. And when they start seeing that it opens doors, they're like, okay, but what I've got another, category I want to go after. I got these other 10 accounts. Do you have playbooks for that too? They start asking for more of it. And that's when you've won up, hearts and minds in the sales org.
Yeah. Well, I know that there's probably some metrics that you're going to be looking at early on that kind of evaluates whether or not it's successful or if it's not working. What are the ones that are the most valuable in your mind that would be measurable metrics?
Sure. So there's really three dimensions to that. There's the like standard SaaS companies. I'm talking like not the platform, not the big SaaS companies, like the everyday, ISV, independent software vendor. They typically get distribution through services companies. Very rarely will they actually get a platform company sales rep to bring them into a deal, unless that platform company sales rep cannot win their deal without you. They're not going to bring you in. So we try to get them into either the pre-sales organization so they can get their solution architected into day-to-day deals as kind of a way to backdoor into the sales org. But the biggest recommendation is going through systems integrators or service providers. That's a partner recruiting effort. There's got to be a way for them to recruit, for them to articulate why they should be architecting their solution into the motions. And that professional services company is usually the one that has the attention of the platform company sales reps. And so by going to all the SIs and getting your solution architected, you kind of backdoor your way in. So to your question, the leading indicators of success there are how many services companies or members of the pre-sales organization do I have active that buy into my story, that are making regular referrals and engaging with me. If I'm a professional services company, it's always about, getting engagement with the individual contributors at, in pre-sales, sales, or customer success / account management at the large platform companies. And the leading indicators of success there are how many teams did I get in front of where I presented, hey, again, don't boil the ocean. When you show up and actually get in front of a sales team in a platform company, again, sales reps, they're short attention span. You better get straight to the point. It's got to be high value. Here's what we do. We're the best at it. We don't boil the ocean. We're really good at banking and credit unions or whatever it may be. And here are the plays you can run into your accounts. Questions. Does anybody have an account right now that fits this criteria? And in that meeting, you'll get pipeline because they'll be like, yeah, I've got that. I want to run that play. Great. I'm going to send you a message afterwards. We're going to go run that play together. So leading indicators there are, how many people did we get in front of and how many said yes and how many started actually sending out the communications. And then the third dimension is the platform company itself. And that comes down to like when we work with platform companies that really go all in, they want to go, take 20, 30 different service providers that have unique specialties across a wide variety of segments or, however they're broken out, and creating unique co-sell plays for each of them. And then what you do is you create a menu for the sales reps of the platform company. And so for every co-sell playbook we have, we literally just build a spreadsheet and it says, here's the play name. Here's a link that'll take you to your account list inside of your own CRM that shows you all of the accounts that qualify for this play. Here's your door opener. It's like silver platter menu. Which one do you want to go run? Go ahead and copy paste that message, send it out, and you're good. So the leading indicators of success there are how many reps are actually pulling plays and sending out messages. How many partners are they engaging? Like that's usually leading indicators.
Yeah. Well, there's those three different phases I think are dimensions are really important, I think, to understand, and pulling all that stuff together. It's again, it's not easy. It's fairly simple to talk through, but where do you
None of
feel
this
like
is rocket science. It's just a lot. None of this is rocket science. Nothing I do is like super black boxy. There's just so many little moving parts to make this happen. And that's where I think, to your point earlier, when you asked about like where do people succeed or fail in partnerships? It's that it is really a cross-functional thing, especially at these large organizations. And almost nobody has an internal function that understands how to drive this cross-functional alignment, even though the individual steps are really easy and simple. It's just a lot of moving parts, and we're exceptional at managing the moving parts.
Yeah. So when implementation starts to happen, where's the most common area of breakdown? Is it in the partner selection, the targeting, messaging, the handoff, execution? I mean, there's probably lots of different places where you could see some holes in the bucket, but what would you say your most common breakdowns are?
On the, I guess at the beginning, it's around the strategy for it, like it's developing the co-sell playbooks, like, and that's why we came out with an offering that's $5,000. It's like, we'll go develop a co-sell playbook for one motion. We'll get it, everything ready, messaging, all that good stuff. And we'll monitor the execution of it for 60 days. It's like the lowest level of, can we do something that actually, that actually feels different than what we're doing today? And so nailing that process and then scaling it is really, is I guess the name of the game there. And then on the execution side, you know, in the execution side, if you, that's usually where it falls apart the most, but it's usually because they don't have the foundation. They weren't using the right COSO playbook. There wasn't a clear rules of engagement, because in that COSO playbook, we also include what we call a COSO plan. And that really, it's nothing more than a joint mutual action plan. Again, not rocket science. It's a mutual action plan. But now it includes a partner. Hey, in this motion, the solutions partner is actually going to do the discovery first, and then we're going to move to this, and then we're going to do demo, and then we're going to align on pricing. And so having that rules of engagement, I know mutual action plans are like the bane of many reps' existence, but like they actually work and it produces meaningful results.
Hmm. And so what does it look like when you have everything kind of lined up and, co-selling execution is just all dialed in, and week to week and in real life scenarios, like what is the cadence, the accountability, and the collaboration between teams?
So cadence, accountability, and collaboration. So like, what does that look like? Well, one, um, let's say I'm a professional services org and I'm co-selling with a large platform, which is really common. What we do is we visualize the org chart of every team that we work with at the platform company. So we know, hey, these two enterprise teams are work. We've got 3 reps in that team sending us business. 2 reps on this other team, or 5 CSMs over here, and we keep track of where we have those relationships and who's active. And then it's about coming up with an engagement plan for, how do I keep the attention? Because to get referrals, it's really about, yes, you can run co-sell playbooks and like do outbound that way. But to get referrals on a consistent basis, it's all about mind share. And the individual contributors on the front lines are the ones that's the those are the folks where you want to have your brand in their minds at all times. So when they run into a situation, they think about you. But you can't just show up every month and be like, hey, got any deals for me? That's annoying, and that's a quick way to get blacklisted, and to lose, credibility with your partners. So we try to, when we coach people through this, we try to create value-added ways to engage. All right, every month we're maybe helping a couple reps, hey, give me a couple target accounts. I'm gonna do some research, see if I can come up with some plays for you, and let's chat about it. That's a high value activity. Or you may deliver assets to them. Don't deliver random marketing crap. Like if it's a high value asset, it's focused on something that you think or are highly confident that will help that rep, advance a conversation or break into an account. That's a cool asset to go and send. And then it's having Slack channels, or some type of some type of system in the background where you can communicate with one another, share wins. So win wires are a big thing. Even though a rep may not be engaging you, when they constantly see your name in a Slack channel saying, yeah, I just won a deal with so-and-so over here, like, what are they doing differently over there? And you usually start getting some organic inquiries.
Yeah, that's great. And I love how the structure of that is lined up in such a way where it is something that you could feel like that, yeah, that's doable. I could pull that together. I could pull those pieces together. So as we land the plane here, or you want to add something?
I was gonna touch on, it's not even about the rep doing it. Like, when we get into the execution, we create, as part of our service, we have, human resources that we assign to customer accounts that are named individuals that, they're like sales assistants. And we call them and title them co-sell alignment specialists. So that's the name of the role. And having that role internally, whether you're using our service or you just find or you create some type of centralized function in your organization, it's about having somebody that's maintaining the communications with all these folks. Hey, how often are we chatting with so and so, and why aren't we getting over here? And maybe we promise things in our mutual action plan. Who's monitoring for that to make sure that those things get done? Yes, you can rely on the rep, and yes, You as a leader can sit there and be like, oh, I pay that rep a lot of money. They're going to do the things. No, they won't. Like a lot of them won't. So when you create that centralized kind of orchestration function around the co-sell motion, it stops a lot of the leakage in the relationships and the continued engagement.
Yeah. Well, I know that we have some business owners and revenue leaders right now that are watching this video or listening to this podcast, and they're asking the question, what can we do in the next 30 days to actually create more partner-driven opportunities? So what would your response be with that?
One, call us. But two, I mean, in the next 30 days, it's really about identifying, where you want to affect change in the business. Again, growth, churn reduction, whatever it is. It could be a segment or vertical that you want to go in. Who's the best partner that's most likely to go help me win in that business, whether they've got a large customer base in that business or they just have unique expertise? What are the pains those potential buyers are feeling right now, and how can we create a simple co-sell door opener that's an experience that buyer would really enjoy and value? And when you craft that and just start sending it out, like the best thing you can do is hone in on one little thing, create an experience, start sending out communications. We can get from zero to pipeline in 30 to 45 days in a lot of cases, because it's as simple as that.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to give you an opportunity to tell people why Forecastable, why choose Forecastable to be the support system that helps this partnership model.
Sure. So, whether you have if you don't have an existing team, like when people hire us at Forecastable, they're trying to prove one of two things. They're either trying to prove viability of a new motion, like, hey, I think we can go win over here, but I'm not sure. There is no less expensive way to test it than to try it through us, because we know exactly what we're doing and how to go test things quickly, and we'll fail fast if the value story doesn't work or whatever it may be. You're going to know really, really quickly, but we also win very quickly. So when it is awesome and it does land, it usually hits pretty hard. And for those that have existing partner teams, we have plenty of customers that came to us with an existing partner team. We just added we've added sales rigor to their lives. We've given them a new way to engage with their own sales organization and to speak their language in a more meaningful way through the lens of playbooks, and we give them that execution support. So if they're leveraging our co-sell alignment specialist, my team documents every single process that alignment specialist does. And we make partner professionals feel like they've got 6 arms instead of 2, and they find out that they're just taking a lot more meetings and a whole lot of things in the background are happening on their own because there are real humans behind it running it.
Yeah, well, we titled our podcast "The Business Builder's Playbook" because we knew that there are lots of different plays and motions and things that can be done, kind of using the football analogy, to help an organization to win. And I think that what Alex has shared with us today is a special team, right? Special teams come in and they execute on very specific tactics. And this is an area that can be crucial to your success in the year to come. And so I highly encourage everybody that's either watching or listening to this individual video or this podcast to be able to go to forecastable.com, reach out to Alex's team, have a free strategy session, talk a little bit more about what it is that they can do and how they can help you to execute your playbook or create the playbook for you. So, Alex, thanks so much for joining me. It was a pleasure to be able to have a conversation with you and to learn from your wisdom.
Likewise. Thanks for having me, David. I'll see you.
Thanks for tuning in to the Business Builder's Playbook. If this episode gave you some plays that you can start running in your business today, hit subscribe and share with another revenue leader who's tired of the pipeline grind. Building predictable revenue isn't something you figure out alone. Whether you're looking to automate your prospecting with BDR.ai, or you just want to talk through the growth challenges you're facing, reach out. We help business leaders just like you to build systems that actually scale. And if you're ready to stop being your company's highest paid prospector, let's have a conversation. Reach out to us at BDR.ai. Until next time, let's keep building.